So this video is all about polishing and packaging our game. In this video, we're going to point out that first impressions count. Think about those early reviews. The reviewers want to get their hands on your game, and if it's full of bugs, that's going to live with your game. They very rarely revise their review. So don't ship a half-baked product, even if it's digital. It's no excuse to make it half-baked. Okay, if it's pre-released to have a certain glitches and idiosyncrasies in there, but really you're better off restricting the scope of the game and doing what you do well, because it sets the precedent for moving forward. Think about this course. I hope I'm doing it well, but it's certainly not complete. Check through your code. Polish. That's the polish code. Check through it. We've got a checklist on the next slide. And then finally ship to your customers. That's packaging it and sending it away. So really, I just want you to do that. I want you to polish your game. Go through your code, comment with why you're doing things, remove any obvious comments. If it's clear what the code does, remove the comment. Introduce your classes with block comments. Remember, that's /* to start the comment, and then * to finish commenting. Give a decent introduction to each of your files and your classes and your header files, all your files. Use pragma once at the top of each file. Make sure that's in there, that #pragma once. Unreal uses that a lot, and it makes sure we don't double import files. Delete or deal with any to-do items, and capture any future ideas and improvements. You can even do that right in the code. Okay, so go ahead, pause the video, and just make sure that you are comfortable with your game and your code, and go and give it a polish right now. Welcome back. So I'm going to talk you through the changes I make to my code. So starting in main CPP, this is what I mean, by the way, by a block quote, and I think this is still perfectly appropriate. What I haven't got is a #pragma once, so I'm going to do that at the top. Make sure my includes are necessary. I need IOStream. I need to talk out to the user and get input. I need string. I'm dealing with strings, and I need to import my game class. That's all fine. Now, this substitutions, I think that's worth commenting. To make syntax Unreal friendly. Okay, that's why we're doing it. It's a why. It's a good comment. Okay, so we're prototyping. Why are we prototyping? Do we need to say why? It's on the borderline. If you know C++, you don't really need it, but while you're thinking about it, function prototypes as outside a class. So because we're not in a class here, we don't have a header file for the methods below. I think that's worth putting. Instantiate a new game, I think, which we use across plays. That's quite an important point. Why aren't we creating a new game each time? The entry point for the application, this all looks okay. Exit the application, I'm quite happy with that. Introduce the game, I think that's pretty clear. Print intro, I don't even think we need that comment. I think that's one of those redundant comments. So tighten that up a little bit. Void play game. Yes, I think that is fine. I think we need to say a little bit more about what play game does. Plays a single game to completion or something like that. I think that would help us when we come back later. Okay, so we're looking for any other things in here that need removing. Get a guess from the player. I think this stuff is all fine. To play a game, print a summary. No, I think that's fine. It's also a good tip, by the way, to leave a blank line at the bottom, because things like the GCC compiler prefer that. So that's a handy thing. Now, while I'm here, let's go straight in before we go anywhere else and look at the tasks. To do, write function for lowercase. We don't need that. So that's all my to-dos cleared. Let's go back to the challenge slide and see what else. Comment with whys. We're doing that. Introduce our classes with block comments. Pragma once. Okay, good. So on to the next file. Pragma once we already have, but what we don't have is a block introduction. What is this all about? So we can either put it here or we can put it in the implementation file. I think it would make sense while we're at the top level to put it here in the header file. So /*, the game logic, no view code or direct user interaction. The game is a simple guess the word game based on Mastermind, or something like that, right? So that gives you a block comment at the top to say what it does. Again, we have a look down. Why are we doing this? Well, I think it's probably worth using the same comment again right there, that this is to make the syntax Unreal friendly. That could be very confusing when you look at it again in the future. All values are initialized to 0 is a redundant comment. We can see that they're initialized to 0. But why are we making a bool cow count? used to, well, I think it's actually pretty obvious, so I won't comment that. eGuess status, don't think I need to comment that either. Class F ball cow game, that's all fine. I'm leaving constructor in there because I think that's a useful comment. To do, make a more rich return value. We're actually not going to bother to make reset do any checks before it does its reset, but what I am going to do is in the implementation of reset, I am going to just say that right here against the hidden word, this must be an isogram. It's really important that the hidden word is an isogram, otherwise the game is very hard to play. But once I've made that comment in line there, I think I can remove this and reduce the scope of the project a little tiny bit for simplicity. Signposting people to the constructor down here I think is useful because they go, well, what are the initial values of these things? Well, you go over to the constructor and you find the constructor here, default constructor, and then you look down at reset and then you see your initial values. Okay, so this file rather, don't necessarily need the block comment at the top. I think it is worth saying again to make more Unreal friendly. I think that's still in my paste buffer. That's great. Actually, to be honest, but both of these things are for that, so I think I'll put them like like this. I'm just trying to keep it close enough to map. We can see what's going on, map, but also group these two together. These type of style things matter when you're reading the code. Be a little bit more consistent. I'm going to be a little bit more consistent here with my bracketing format. This must be an isogram. A little bit too much spacing, I would say there. Check guess validity. I think this is all just fine. By the way, here, this is very close to being able to be expressed as, not this one, sorry, the switch statement back in the main is very close to being able to be expressed as a map itself, if you think about it. But I haven't bothered because of the difficulties with literal strings for the moment. Okay, so back to the CPP file, and I think the rest of it is looking pretty good. Just diving back up to the top of the fballcowgame.cpp, let's just do a hash pragma. Oops, if I can type straight, pragma once. Again. Okay, great. So that's the idea. You're going through, you are removing redundant comments, you are getting rid of all your to-dos, and you're just making very sure that at this stage you are happy with your code. So what I want you to do at this stage is to close your project and then package it up and share it in the discussions the best way you can. So literally just close it all, go and find where it is stored. In my case, it's Unreal Course Section 2, and then I have Bull Cow Game, and I have all this stuff here. You don't need the debug folder. But if you share with people either just your 3 raw files or your whole Visual Studio project, probably just your 3 raw files, and let the other students import these and make them run. Zip them up somehow. You can do that with a compressed folder like this in Windows. And then use Dropbox, use Send It, or Google Drive or something to make those available to other students. Please don't share a .exe or a mac.app file because they're just too dangerous. Your virus scanners will go crazy and it's just not very clever. But share the source code with other users. And if you see another user's source code, go to the effort of actually running it, helping each other to share it in such a way that it can run, and then giving each other feedback on your games. So well done on getting to the end of this project. It's been a lot of fun working with you on it, and I look forward to seeing you in the next section.